I only repeat the names back because I'm closer to the bag, and if I need to kind of reference something in the analysis of, hey, so-and-so Will heard something. So that way I know who I'm talking about. Make sense?
Yes.
All right, I know I talk fast. I'm from the north. Can you all tell? I'm not from here.
Will we like know anything that happens when it happens?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. So
What if a brick gets thrown into the sign?
we'll all know it. Just saying. If you see a brick flying across the parking lot, we'll be good. All right, thermal imaging. So why would I use thermal imaging in a ghost hunt? Guesses?
Because it's thermal. Because
She's
You can't see them
heat,
with the
but
naked eye.
they give
not
off
heat, but the opposite what?
cold.
Cold. Ghosts create cold spots. So the whole point of this is so that we can actually look for cold spots. So you guys can all see me in that camera, correct? I should be orange, red, and yellow. So with that said, everything around me should be something of blue or black. Those are the colder areas because my skin is going to be the warmest thing inside the picture right now. So we're looking for those blue and black spots to move on their own. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because obviously if you take me out of the picture, those orange, red, and yellow spots are going to go somewhere else because it also wants the warmest thing inside the picture. We're going to try to keep somebody in view at all times. So only because it records audio and video, and we've already had a couple of smart alecky type comments, I'm going to go ahead and give this to Will because I think we all need a good chuckle tomorrow morning as we're watching through the video from whatever comments he's going to find.
Okay.
So you're going to hold that horizontal just like that all night long.
All night long.
All night long. Now, you see the red square on there?
Red square. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
If you accidentally hit it and it turns to a circle, please let me know, but tap it again. That means I have to splice the video together. Try not to create a million videos for me to splice together. It takes me all day to do that.
Okay.
So one video would be best. 2 to 3 videos is
So
not
just
horrible.
don't hit that
Fair?
Right.
All right.
Might have a comment.
Nobody's commenting on how Will's going to give us a great commentary tomorrow. This
I'm
should be
telling him
interesting, right?
to keep the comments to a minimum.
Oh, he's fine.
What happens if, like, I get scared too, not scared, but, like, I scream when I flinch. Would that mess up anything?
We'll hear it on the audio.
Okay.
You,
She's a big wuss,
screamed at
guys.
bugs.
All right, let's look.
We're going to keep you occupied enough so that way you are not going to be, how do I put this?
Like, if somebody taps me on the shoulder and sneaks up to me, I will scream.
I have to do that to her. I do that to her all the time, no matter what. As long, I'll be sitting right behind her and I just go, she just jumps. She screams.
Should be just fine. We got this
Maybe.
covered.
Yes.
Spirit boxes. I told you I have 3 of them. Let me kind of explain very quickly what they actually are. They basically sweep through FM radio stations at a very quick rate. It's that white static noise that you hear on your TV shows and YouTube videos. And then Zach Bagans tells you the crap that he thinks he heard and puts it up on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to be doing this in real time.
Okay.
So the cool thing about this one in particular is that it is slowed down, so that way we actually want the radio chatter to come through. We want the song lyrics, the DJs, the commercials. That's what we want. It's a 50-50 shot. If whoever I give this to makes out what the commercial or DJ said, I can tie it to the location of where we are, a person I'm talking about in history, or even something going on with one of us. It happens all the time. So this one records the entire session for us. No background noise, even when it's on mute. It's recording right now. You guys are going to have a nice, even volume recording tomorrow morning when I give this back to you, with about 15 to 20 markers of things that I find within the recording. Some of those things will be relevant. Most of it is to help train your ear on how to listen to the entire recording. I'm only going to spot check it. Fair?
Fair.
All right. Young ladies, because I have 3 of these, don't worry, you're getting one.
Yes.
You have one button to worry about. Sorry if it was underneath that. There's a wheel at the very top of this. It controls the volume. That's the only button you need to worry about.
Cool.
When it's time for spirit boxes, I'll say spirit boxes on.
So what's up to do?
You'll roll it up loud enough to where the 2 of you can hear it, and that way you guys can kind of work together on it. Don't worry, you're going to have a device too.
Oh, look at that one.
All right, we're going to continue on with spirit boxes.
Oh, okay.
This one does the exact same thing, only it doesn't record. So, Nikki, this one's going to you.
Okay.
So, because you already seem kind of like you were in tune with it, I give the recordable one to maybe somebody that I don't know that actually has any kind of experience. You've obviously watched the TV shows, you know what you're listening for. You have one button as well. There's a button on the side of the ball speaker, right around here. You hold it up gently to get some volume, and then you hold it down, obviously, when I'm telling stories and kind of talking to the whole group.
Okay.
So I'll say spirit box is up when we're ready for that guy. Last but not least, the other spirit box we're going to use. you don't want to hear about President Biden, thanks Google. So this one is going to give us a word from time to time in the center of the screen, and then it's going to save all of those terms to a list. The list, you guys will have the full list. 80% of what comes up on this list is kind of BS. This thing is meant to be a game and a hoax. I don't give you guys any false positives like, oh, that could be. I'm either going to be, that's it, or that's not. Or if I have to look into it, I would definitely tell you when I have to look into it. I'm going to clear out last night's list. They had 96 terms.
Wow.
That's like 35% more than what I normally get in a 2-hour time span, just so you guys know. So they had a lot going on with their group, so all you have to do is let me know where the words are. You're going to have something.
I don't want that though. I'll take something else.
You want to go with something else?
Daddy, you want that?
No, I got something special for him. He's getting my brand new device.
Oh, I like that.
So with that, it's still in testing mode, so you're going to be the guy to give me all the feedback.
It shocks you occasionally.
Deal with that.
Yeah, it makes you jump. So it's a good thing you got white shorts on.
Right.
Feet up.
Is that rain? No, that ain't rain.
Coming out the trees.
Yeah. EMF meters are an absolute essential for what we're doing here tonight. So this one is the very standard one you guys see on TV. This is a K2 meter. This is going to measure 3 different types of electromagnetic fields. The first one is going to be natural from the earth. That's why it's green, Jade, so you might want to pay attention. This one's going to use it. The second one is going to be electronic items. But Nick, you just gave us a bunch of electronics. It would literally have to be touching it to make it go off. Okay, so don't worry about your cell phones. We want this thing to go erratic. We want it to go nuts. Yours goes up to 25 milligauss. I'm going to pull out another one that measures things a little bit differently, just so that that person has a point of reference. You need to just kind of like debunk it a little bit, and that way she knows when to stop, and you guys know when to stop and listen for your spirit box and actually ask some questions. So that one goes to you. Ashley, I told you you're gonna be busy. So this one has 3 different functions. So this one should keep your mind occupied enough where you're going to basically be helping out everybody in the family. Okay. It has a K2 meter and EMF meter in it, just like hers, Jake, right? So the top numbers, anything above 2.5, I want to know what's going on there. If it's steady, if it's jumping all over the place, that's the EMF meter. The bottom's going to give us ambient temperature. If Will finds something cold in his screen, we can figure out where it's coming from. Last but not least, sorry, you opted out of this one. This is a motion detector. Now, we don't use it all the time because it makes noise and it does get a little annoying on the audio. Right now, it kind of needs to balance itself out because I just turned it on. But in the event something gets close to that antenna that I just pulled up, it will make a noise. If something gets closer, it's going to go higher in pitch. So, now that I reset it, you can see my hand is not touching the antenna. And as something gets close to it, I have the range pretty small because we're going to be walking around. If I'm doing my own investigations and it's standing still on a shelf or a bookcase or whatever, I widen it up. That was my hand, don't get excited. So again, we're going to kind of talk more about this guy as we get into our first location. For now, I'm going to shut off the motion detector. Keep this back flap open for me so I can show you more about how to use it.
So look for 2.5.
2.5 and higher.
Okay.
Can you handle that?
Yeah.
Is that going to make you jump?
And don't drop his very expensive equipment, Ashley Craig.
It's all insured, we're good.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Trust me, it wouldn't be the first time. So for Dad, we have a brand new device. This is, I think, week number 2 with this guy.
Proton blaster.
It's a ghost trap, so you guys can take one home.
Yay! Take one. I don't think I want to take a ghost home.
I know how to work this one.
I want to take a ghost home. I like ghosts.
So, quick demo of what this actually is.
Where's the camera?
Alright, so you guys should not be able to see me in that camera. It should be pretty dark. Okay?
Yeah.
So we are going to turn some lights on.
You can somewhat see you.
I can see that.
So is it like an infrared?
It's a full spectrum.
Okay, full screen.
Full spectrum lighting camera. It should be in some kind of pink purplish hue. I don't know if you caught that, Dad, but the top piece just kind of snapped off, so it is barely on there.
Okay.
So it's a little wiggly. You're going to worry about the top button on this one only. There's two buttons. Then there's a red button right here. Actually, it'll be on the left-hand side of your screen. That turns off this angle. This one turns on a straight angle. So with that said, let me show you what the bottom button does, just so you kind of get a gist of it. It does give us night vision. Okay, so night vision brings a lot of attention to my groups.
Isn't this also like a little bit night vision?
A little bit.
Little
You're
bit.
just seeing things in a whole different light than everybody else. They're part of the lighting.
Okay.
So night vision actually draws a lot of attention to the tour. The other tours already don't like me. We just leave it off.
Oh.
So we're all about the full spectrum lighting. So again, top switch here. I literally want you to kind of play with these lights and tell me what the best angles are. If we need to move the camera based on if you're left or right-handed. Like I'm just looking for feedback. We will record in like 2 spots. The files on this guy are huge, so that's why I only do 2 locations. So you're basically just going to be using it as a viewfinder if you see some craziness while I'm talking or telling a story. Go ahead and let's get that record button going, and we'll talk more about that at the first stop too. Yeah, I definitely need to, because I know like the top light, it wasn't perfectly like stable when I got it, so now I think I have to glue some pieces together to make sure it's going to hold throughout my tours. And I am using this thing 6 nights a week. All right, so everybody has tools.
I just have one question. I don't feel like it's going up because I've been playing with it.
It's a gentle hold. Push it gently.
Okay.
You gotta hold it.
And
Push it up gently and hold it.
Okay, so it must be all the way down.
Yeah, it's all the way down right now. It's not a wheel like hers.
Oh,
here,
okay.
twist
It's
it
not
and
a
see,
wheel.
and you can see
Hang
some
on.
light.
So
Hang on,
yeah.
hold on.
So with the gentle hold,
I see what you.
it's literally just a gentle hold. It's one of those cheap little ball speakers, but it's the loudest thing I could find.
Okay, I got you.
I've been through like 10 of them.
Okay,
so
I
right
got
now,
it.
all I do is just hold it until you tell me to.
Yeah, so I mean, you're going to be using the viewfinder to see if there's any weird shadows coming into play. And I want you to basically test the lighting, which angles are working best for you based on which handed, so that way in the future, when I actually capture something, I know what the hell I'm looking at. So
basically, just the top is all you're going to work on.
or this guy.
Okay, guys.
There's a whole different one. That one's lined up with the lens, just so you know.
Okay, guys. Okay. Perfect. Got it.
All right, perfect. All right.
Wait, ghost. Oh no, they're
No
real.
ghosts. All right, so we start here for a reason. The address that I gave you guys to meet me up at was just so you had a physical building, but the place is haunted. So that used to be a place called Big John's. Big John was a football player for the 1947 New York Giants. He used to sit in the back of the bar and tell the bartender if the cadets coming from the Citadel, if they were old enough to drink or not. One night, 2 guys come in, they're not old enough. John tells the bartender, get them out of here. They leave pretty angry. The next night, they come back and they try to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. Big John sees what's going on. He starts pounding these guys into the floor. Big bar fight goes out between John and 2 cadets. A couple of shots go off. The shot hits John in the neck and it ricochets and goes into the wall. John gets up and he goes back to the bar and he tells the bartender to get him an ambulance, to get him another beer, get the 2 guys on the floor, an ambulance. John's the one that got shot. So, again, nobody died in that story. So what do you think is haunting the place?
The boys.
Nope.
The bullet.
You're almost there. The bullet. The bullet hole is still allegedly still here. I say allegedly because they're obviously renovating the place. You can see the brown paper over the windows. So they say the people that sit in the front of the bar, which is also the only place I've ever gotten any kind of EMF out of the 2 devices that you guys have, comes from the front. People that sit up there get a little queasy, headaches, nauseous, just kind of light symptoms. I bring this story up on purpose as a heated warning. Anybody feels any of those symptoms tonight, I need to know immediately so we can get everybody out of the area. I haven't had an instance in about a year. I just will tell you, people they just don't make it through the tour. It's not to scare you, because technically I already told you this is not a scary tour. I just like to make sure you guys have that word of caution. Make sense?
Yes.
So let's talk about something that's not our own health, right? Because everybody just got real quiet on me. All right, so we had a
I'm
big
just
earthquake
checking for
here.
queasing it. I don't know if I feel.
It's got worse for you, dude.
We had a big earthquake in 1886. It's a big one for Charleston because this is Charleston. We don't get earthquakes. So a piece of the mantling in the middle of that you guys see there also goes around to the front of the building. From the earthquake, a piece of it broke off, hit somebody in the back of the head, and killed them, allegedly. Apparently, you could see his ghost in the middle of East Bay Street in the middle of the night. I say all of this allegedly because I don't have any proof. It's just a great segue story so you guys aren't thinking about getting sick on my tour. All right, I think we are ready to roll unless somebody else has another question.
I got a question.
Yes.
A serious question?
Yes,
Okay.
serious question.
What do you got?
But you said that if we see something, we're gonna have to tell other people, like other people.
You're going to see how we have this set up at the first location.
Okay.
Basically, tell
patient.
him.
Yeah, you're going to see me bouncing around with each person all night long. So what's going to happen is if you see something and then all of a sudden we have the word Big John shows up and somebody else heard 1947, everybody's going to know about it without actually having to meet up with all of the other people. You'll see how this goes.
And you're just gonna keep bouncing by.
You just
hear stuff
report.
and then tell everybody else.
I'm here to help put all the clues together.
Right.
Because I know all the stories and I know extra things that I don't always put in the verbal part of it. So if something pops up that's nonverbal, and it's kind of like, oh, I didn't tell you about this person's son. They did this. That's why that makes sense. Let's go some. We got this, buddy. You guys tell I had teenagers once upon a time. How old are you? 16?
Oh! Okay. Scared me.
It'll be a good night. That was right on cue. I planned that, everybody.
Yeah, I see that.
You guys are gonna always I always get the question, what's the creepiest thing you've ever seen? You guys have to remember, this isn't creepy for me. This isn't scary when I do my own investigations. I'm doing the St. Augustine Lighthouse in September. I'm actually leading a group for another podcast friend of mine when I go down there. And they called me up because I have, well, first off, I have all the gear that they don't have. And second, they're like, we've been watching what you've been doing in Charleston. We can't wait to see what you're gonna find down here. So I have a team of 30 people that I have to kind of teach, basically what I'm teaching you guys right now.
Do you have a podcast?
I do. Without it's Stories in the Cemetery. That's how this started. So
Stories in the Cemetery. Oh,
that's the name of the
I
tour.
think I've seen
Do you know?
one.
Are you in the right place?
I actually booked
Did you bring the right person?
Yeah, we pay, trust me.
She brought us.
But it's stories from the graveyard that I've got on that I've listened to. Or something about a graveyard.
Graveyard Tales, maybe.
Something, yeah.
Two of those
Graveyard
guys.
Talks. That's what I listen to.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah, they're not that good. I don't listen to them. Okay, sorry,
Alright.
I'm sorry.
Back to the task.
Yes,
Let's get
yes,
back to work.
sorry.
All right, so welcome to the Big Red Barn lot. Again, I told you guys some of my sites, they're not sightseeing. This is where we keep your horses for your carriage rides. The horses are in that barn. They can hear us. So those of you with loud spirit boxes or the spirit boxes that make noise, you want to keep. You all guess what that was? My wife's ringtone is "I'm not a witch, I'm your wife." So if you're a Princess Bride fan, you totally get it. But at any rate, so this is where the horses are. They can hear us with the white noise and all that. We want to keep it audible just to about 2 people. We don't want to be too loud with the spirit boxes. Nobody here has lasers, so I don't have to worry about that. The only bit of history here, guys, this is very simple because this is kind of like your level 1. This is where things are going to be very easy to do. That way we can move on and dive into some really deeper stuff. This is the same red barn where we held horses that delivered milk and eggs to the city of Charleston. Okay? So, let's talk about spirit boxes. We have 3 of them. So, you're very quiet. Do you not have anything popping up at all? You have rich? Wrench. Okay. And I'm going to show you how to get to the list. This is a place where I get to bounce around with all of you and show you more tactics with your devices. So, who's tapping?
What's that?
I thought I heard like a weird tapping. Was that just the roof?
I
Just
knew.
me. Hopefully it shows up on the audio. Alright, so, spirit boxes, this is not TV. This is not, is somebody here? Because if they answer no, somebody's here. Okay? So, again, we're going to stay away from yes or no questions all night long. We're going to try to get the more detailed stuff. If somebody's here, tell me what color the barn is. Obviously, we can all agree that it's red because it's called the Big Red Barn. Right? So, they might give you the color red, but they might also give you something that is specifically red. Heart, blood, fire truck. When I say those 3 items, they're all specifically red. Your heart can't be, well, it can be purple, but it's probably not a good sign. But you guys get the gist of this. It's about putting those clues together. They're going to try to find the right word to say back to us to be able to make sure we're getting the communication right. In the event you don't get an answer with what color is the barn. If somebody's here, tell me what's inside the barn. You just opened it up. We have animals, horses. They're draft horses. They were delivery horses. They delivered milk and eggs, which could also be protein and calcium, another word for that. So again, anything related to horses or ponies. Again, this is a very simple place because we know what the answers are. In the event from the 2 spirit boxes in front of me, if you guys hear a double-digit number, it's a good likelihood that it might be the jersey number from one of Big John's teammates. I don't get excited about one double-digit number. That's a tongue twister for me. I want the first name or something related to that person as well. So if you hear the number 40 and you hear come to my art class, Art Faircloth was number 40 on Big John's team. You guys see where I put those connections together? Again, I'm not going to get excited about one little thing. In all 3 spirit boxes, those connections, you could be asking questions, but it can go to any spirit box, my audio or Will's audio on the thermal imaging camera because it records audio as well. As far as Justin's audio, he doesn't have any. So it's in a waterproof box, so you're not going to have any audio with that. Just keep in mind, that's why I bounce around to see what you guys are all listening for. You're going to use your EMF, which I'm surprised we're not getting anything right now. Did you have anything walking in? Okay. So sometimes we get it as soon as we walk in. Sometimes it waits until we leave. We never know. We're standing on top of a sewer line. There's no reason why these EMF detectors should be going off for any reason, but we do get a lot of activity here. This is just a place, literally, we're going to spend like 5 minutes here where I can bounce around with every person, kind of see what those extra tactics are that I need to teach each individual person. I'm going to start off with the cameras. So spirit boxes. So you probably need, I'm sorry, I lost your name already. Mackenzie.
She's got a word.
She's not multiple. She's a coach. Acceptable.
You have coach?
Acceptable.
Yeah.
So a football term from
Yeah.
Big John.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Way to go, Mac.
Or like.
She's already dropped the ball.
It's okay. Mackenzie and Ashley. Get it. So,
Mac and Ash.
got it.
Sounds like
So
Mac
you
and
probably need Ashlyn with you because you're going to need to know when she finds a reading so you know when to stop and ask questions. I am going to go ahead and start with the cameras to show them a little bit extra things. We're going to stay within the confines of this lot. Start asking questions. See what you come up with. I'll be with you guys just a few minutes. Find a good hot
It's
spot.
working
Like,
really
ask
well.
questions.
Like literally like what I just like what color is the barn? If there's a teammate from Big John, give me your jersey.
I don't turn this on?
Turn it up. This is where you turn it up. It's not too loud for the horses to get rumbled up with. They're probably going to hear a little bit of the thunder and lightning, so they'll be fine. Alright, so do you have the gist of why I need somebody in that camera at all times?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so go ahead, just to give you another perfect example. Point your camera at the wall.
It's on the wall.
See, watch it bleed out. Most of it should be red.
Yeah.
Watch what happens when my hand comes into view.
And it changes to blue.
Exactly.
So that means that's the coldest thing.
Colder area than my
Colder,
hand.
colder area than your hand.
So I don't care how far away they are. And at the next location, I'm going to show you some evidence. I wait till the next location because that's where it happened. In here, we have metal, asphalt, brick, wood, cars.
Cold.
in mind-
All that's
Yeah.
cold.
Not necessarily.
Hmm.
It's still going to find a warmer spot. So if you have a person in view at all times, then that's kind of how it's going to balance out. I want that array of color. It's just easier to find the moving cold spots and see what it's actually going to form into. If it's going to be into a human form, is it just going to be an orb floating around? I never know what I'm going to find. Do
Yeah.
I find something with that every night? I don't. But I do need to have it recording at all times in order to be able to find it. So because I have the two of you, I did this father-son thing with the cameras on purpose. People get a little weird with cameras in their cars. Think about your car being parked here and two random strangers are shooting video of your vehicle. So if somebody's going to their car, you're just I know yours is a little bit more wide open, but you could be very discreet. At that point, you're not a cameraman trying to film. You're just casually holding a cell phone. I'm sure you'll help me keep an eye on that with, you know, somebody. I've had some people come at me with this, but they don't understand what the hell we're doing.
Right.
So far, how are you doing with the
Yeah,
weights?
I'm good. Yeah,
Are you
just
right-handed or are you left-handed?
I'm right-handed.
You're right-handed.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I kind of adjusted the camera to hold it that way.
Yeah.
It was that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's right.
And it'll go up and down too. So I mean, if you want to move it this
Okay.
way, I actually thought about experimenting with that tonight, just so that we actually had a better view. Because I watched last night's video, and it just seemed like we were following the purple circle when I'm literally looking for something outside. I should be looking outside the circle to see what else is going to be able to reflect the light that we can't see.
Right.
So it should be some kind of shadow or a person or something along those lines. It was just kind of a weird, like I'm learning more and more about this as I, keep using it night after night. But again, play with the different toggles, see what comes up. I mean, if the two of you want to work together, I'm good with that too. After the next location, after I'm done telling the history of the place, the record button's right here. We'll go ahead and get a recording started. It only goes up to 9 minutes and 26 seconds before it'll start a new video. Just let it record. If we're going to be there for 15, 20 minutes, that's fine.
That'll be this over here. This left one.
Yep. So it'll start to go down. We'll probably have to change batteries about 3/4 of the way through, just so you know, so that way we can get a final video. It will die on you.
Okay.
It's just,
what it is,
and I carry a stack of them. I bought a stash. So
Whoa.
have some fun. I know this is going to be a good night with all this lightning
nice.
here, right?
I like mine. And so you said that if he sees something, I'm just gonna start scanning it or what?
He sees something, and you guys, I'll be honest, you may not see anything in real time.
Yeah.
When we blow it up on YouTube, whether you watch it on your TV or computer, that's when it's going to be a lot easier to see, because then you can go, fast forward and backwards and that kind of thing. So if you see something, you just got to tell me through the camera. Nick, I think I just saw a shadow coming by. This little blue spot was just moving around. That way I'll be able to catch it.
Yep.
Again,
And I'll be able to point it too.
yours does not record audio because it's in a waterproof box. If I hear anything, it's usually mumbling.
Right.
It's kind of hard to make it out. But basically, if you guys do see something, trust me, I'll know it. He'll be all over.
Gotcha.
And so this far away, I can't really see them to them it's just like a blob. So is that good or not?
They're a little far, but they're still the warmest thing in the picture.
Yeah.
See how it's yellow? So
Yeah.
white and yellow are your warmest things.
Yeah.
Black and blue are your coldest
Cold.
things.
Yeah.
So just think white and black.
Gotcha.
Yeah, wine black. All right.
Pick up on the ladies.
Woohoo! Still sketchy.
Look.
All of this.
Why did I just do that? Now your number's going to move a lot quicker. You're going to have to keep an eye on it and let me know what the highest thing is that you've seen so far.
Ooh.
This is yes, right? When it said 4.7 and now it's not.
Let me put her and then we'll let you know on this. Flip your device around with that little flapper right there. No, where the flapper goes in the back. Yeah. Flip it over so you can see it. There we go. There's two little white buttons. Do you see them?
Anxious.
The closest one to the edge,
Anxious.
click that one all the way in flush. Click the button. Don't blind it. The light's getting bright. See? Yep, that's on. So you're going to pull your antenna up. Now, keep the little flap open. We're going to wait for it to kind of balance itself out. There's basically an EMF field. What you're measuring with this guy, they're two separate things. So around an antenna, your EMF field looks like this. If something breaks it, it's going to kind of go wonky, invisibly. There's a button to reset it right on the side where your thumb is.
Like
There's four buttons on this side. You feel them?
Like
The one on the
Oh.
very
On the
bottom will
supermodel.
reset
Use
it.
me as a
So in case it
supermodel.
goes crazy
And
and you
then
think it was
then
you
you'll
because
be
you
able
moved it
to,
too quickly,
like,
just
see
hit
if
that
you've
button
got
and it'll
angles
reset
there.
it from this to this again. So if something breaks it, then we'll get an actual
You
reading.
see why?
We're going to talk
Well,
more about this with the next
so see how
location,
there's
but I
nobody
needed
in
you
there
to know
and
the
all those
operation
colors?
of it.
I put
And
him in
I
there
needed you to
and
see
all
those
the
numbers
back
move even
turns
quicker
to,
because now we
straight
have a
up
much
blue
more
and
accurate
black.
reading. You have the
He's
gist of
the
what
one
that is?
doing
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go to yours. So, do you see the
Scary.
little calendar to the right of your
Scary
word?
things black.
Tap it. You're going to get the full list that way. You can scroll through it. So that way you can see the whole list. At times, I'll say, Mackenzie, where are we at with the list? That's how you bring it up. Don't hit any other button besides the circle back. It'll bring it back to your main screen.
Alright.
Two buttons. So I'm excited about Coach, but I do need the coach's name somewhere else before I'm like super stoked. Make sense?
Okay, what about Chloe?
Chloe could be one of the names for
Ooh.
something I can't prove.
Hey, what is that thing over there?
So we want to know the name of the coach.
There's just something flying over there.
We're going over there. Give me
I think, no, I'm talking about like in the sky.
Okay, can you give us the name of the coach you're talking about?
3. So hi, everybody remember 7.8. Okay, y'all back up a little bit. Go ahead. Yeah, ready?
I don't. He said it. What did that say? I can't understand.
Y'all, okay, I'm gonna have to
It's not us. It's not us, baby. The box said anxious, and they're both very anxious. Okay, so we want to know the name of the coach you were talking about.
meet.
Meat. Coach Protein, Coach Pork, Coach Ham.
Wait, maybe, since they had meat out in there, they kept like pigs and everything in there.
Oh my God.
Maybe she's gonna They're both.
This corner over here, guys.
So maybe it'll either answer on that or it'll answer it on this.
Somewhat. Yep. The warmest thing.
Alright, anything else crazy before we move on?
No.
They got the word meat.
Give me
18. Don't. Ooh. Don't.
That's probably part of the 80%. Remember, this thing is meant to try to scare people.
Alright.
I'm looking after the details like Coach.
Okay.
Wait, what do you mean it's meant to try to
Don't.
scare people?
That's what it's for. It's a game. So our game that we're playing with this is the word and phrase coming from the app, or is it coming from a ghost?
Right.
So the next location, hopefully most of what comes out of this thing will be from the ghosts that are there, because there's a lot of them that like to hang out there.
Yeah.
So let's go talk about that.
Let's go, Sissy. Is there anything in particular we need to talk about? Like,
You good?
I will always kind of give you those prompts, like with the, like when I get this, with the, what color is the barn kind of stuff.
Pretty cool.
Are you good?
What did he
Baby
say?
girl, he said it's not going to go crazy, guys. Come on, let's start back
As it is right now.
He said it's not going to, just from being near us, though, he said it's not going
He
to.
said that there's a fine line. I was standing right next to you. That's why I moved.
Going nuts now? Good. Good sign. Well, that is Five Church Restaurant.
Oh,
So, all right, let's move you guys a little bit further. I know we have activity going on over there, but that's the only way in and out for vehicles. Again, I don't like to create those, so you know, kind of the lightning going on. So this should be
That was
easy
good.
on the cameras for sure.
I like that.
Reset it for me.
do you remember how to reset it?
It's that bottom button. Hold it in. Try to balance it back out
You
again.
getting eat up?
Yes, I'm getting it up.
Dang, alright.
Hold that button in the bottom. Now let it go. That's nuts.
Yeah, this is going off all the way.
Now, fair enough, but what's our reading?
It was like 1.3. Now it's 0.
So pretty low. Again, her device goes up to 25. I've seen yours go way up over 100. I will say that we have an electrical storm going on right now. Is that a possible reason? It could be. But this is one of my most active locations. So let's talk about what's going on here. I want you to shut that off. I think we verified that we have something going on with it. Antenna in, little white button, push back out again. All right, so
What word you getting, Matt?
this is the Charles and Eliza Pinckney Mansion site. So we are standing literally where their mansion stood, facing East Bay Street. Eliza's garden started with that left tree and came all the way across. By the way, if in the event it starts storming, we'll have to kind of go back to the big red barn lot, or, yeah, it was probably the closest place for us to seek any kind of shelter. Not that I think anybody here is going to melt, but I have a couple of $1,000 worth of equipment in your hands.
Got it.
So I think we'll be fine, but it was already supposed to have passed. It's 9:30. So, garden across, we're standing where the servant and slave quarters would have been. So that kind of gives you the layout of the land. So here's what actually goes on here. Eliza and Charles had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 Charleses. The son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. It's a pretty big deal because the son was obviously raised here. Now, you guys are all on vacation. Nobody wants to talk about politics, and we have a younger crowd, which means they definitely don't want to be talking politics. So we're going to move on to Eliza. She's way cooler anyway. Eliza married Charles. Let me stop there. We're not going to talk about questions like what color is George Washington's white horse, like what we did with the big red barn. You're going to get the answers to some of these questions from your spirit box. Fingers crossed. So, Eliza married Charles at a young age. I'm not going to tell you what that age is. I would tell you Charles was over double her age. So if that kind of gives you a roundabout guesswork of what you're listening for. But she married him because her father over in England thought he was dying and wanted to see his kids one last time. She didn't believe he was dying, so she got married instead. It's 1740s. There's no such thing as citizenship, so you don't get married and get your green card. She just did it out of spite so she could stay here and prove her point. She was right. Dad did not die right away. So instead, he starts sending her gifts over from England. One of those gifts happened to be the plant indigo. You guys have all been here for a couple of days, not almost a week, and you've been seeing the word indigo all over town, I'm sure. Here's where it actually started. She literally experimented with it here in her garden and learned from her Gullah slaves, the folks that came straight over from Africa, because they were farmers and planters, how to keep it cultivated in our weird temperatures. It does get cold here in the wintertime. So again, it's very weird to keep a plant going. So she moves it after she's done experimenting with it here up to Mount Pleasant. Her family has a plantation up there called Sneed Farm. She calls her dad, not literally, there's no phones back then. She says, I need someone to sell this to. We can make a lot of money with this. She starts selling indigo overseas. What exactly is indigo? You're wearing it right now. It makes blue dye, and it's what makes our blue jeans blue. That's how we use it today. It's still around. So think of the color royal blue, that's where it came from, indigo. Think of the Civil War for you history buffs, if there is any. The North wore blue coats, that's where indigo is. Confederates wore gray coats. It's just less indigo. Just so you know, we're selling it so much, we didn't keep enough for ourselves down here. So we had the gray coats. That's part of the reason why. There's another ingredient there called wormwood, which makes it more gray, but primarily because we didn't have enough indigo to make it another shade of blue. It's just gray. So, a couple of weird things about Eliza that we're going to dive into. Eliza was the second wife named Eliza from Charles. Yeah, back to back, no less. It's kind of a jerk move. So, they both go by their maiden name. They both start with the letter L. For you younger folks that have spirit boxes, maiden names are the name a woman has before she gets married. Okay, so it's not her middle name, it's her maiden name. Sorry, when I have a younger crowd, I feel the need to explain. So ask what the maiden names are. We talked about the marriage ages, right? You can ask what happened to the mansion. It's obviously not here anymore. Then you can ask when that tragedy happened. Yes, I'll give you the clue that it was a tragedy. You can ask anything you want to about Eliza's death. She's really open about it, and I get a lot of answers to those questions. How old was she when she died? What did she die from? Where is she buried? And what U.S. president was a pallbearer at her funeral? A lot of people go after that one first because that's pretty prominent stuff right there. If that doesn't prove to you like something's here hanging out, I don't know what will. The children, we're going to tread lightly around the kids. There's a tragedy there. Don't poke the bear with Eliza in the tragedy. All activity will stop. It actually occurred last night. Somebody started poking the bear a little bit, and all of a sudden I had nothing. I had all of this great stuff for like 15 minutes, and then it all went away. So, and that was me looking at the data this morning, knowing that the customer called me afterwards and she's like, I have to tell you, I was asking Eliza about the tragedy. I'm like, that makes perfect sense. So, don't poke the bear. Here's what you can't ask about the kids. How many boys, how many girls, names. Leave it alone. I will know if she's trying to talk to us about that tragedy based on what you guys are hearing from your spirit boxes. Make sense? Yeah. All right, so we definitely want to start the recording here. Justin, so go ahead and turn yours on. Have some fun in here. We are going to spend a good 10 minutes in here. Ask any of those questions. If I inspired something else for you to ask and you go rogue and you get answers, I need to know what the questions are so I can share them with the group. Does that make sense? All right. I know I say that a lot, but I feel like teacher mode tonight. I don't know why.
I need reminders constantly.
That's okay. So again, I'm going to check you guys in on all of the websites that you guys bought your tickets from. So give me like 5 minutes, and I'll start bouncing around with all of you, like I did back there.
Do we need to stay in specific groups that work better, like with the things,
not
or just whatever?
So what I will tell you is that your spirit box. The reason why I gave you this one is because he is recording audio. Yours doesn't record audio, remember. So if the two of you are together and you know when to stop, like this is almost a trio. So. Sorry, but you could be a solo person. Dad is a solo person. You guys can work however you want to.
Ash is a solo person?
No, Mackenzie is, because she has a separate spirit box. You can use anything in conjunction with one another. Stay together as a whole family, I don't care, it's your group. You have fun with it, wherever you get the most activity, but essentially, Ashlyn is the one that tells you guys when to stop and where to look. Because she has the EMF meter. She's in.
See, my spirit box, I can't.
There's no data.
All right, so hey.
So you standing back here and getting a ton of activity, it's great. I can't prove anything that you guys find on the spirit box. So if one of the slaves or servants wants to come through and tells me, hey, I'm James, I'm the cook.
Right, let's you and me.
Do you see where I'm going? I like to be able to give you the proof back. So if you hear stuff, that's why you kind of explore the rest of the location. Ask what was in her garden if you want.
I got some good questions.
Her garden was with like the left tree over there and literally came all the way across. So I mean, it was pretty big. So I've seen maps.
Oh, this is the slave.
Yeah, so and it actually went back a little bit further. It's just this weird divider. It actually, I mean, the plot of land was pretty big. I mean, we're talking a prominent family here. So, and the mansion was pretty huge. So, but I mean, you seemed pretty focused too. So I'm sure you remembered some of those questions. So help Mom out here and see what's going on.
Hey, this thing just fell out for a second. I put it back in, and then I hit replay. So I'm just letting you know
it's back on record.
Yes, sir.
Perfect.
I'm just letting you know.
Okay, I appreciate it. So now we're up to 2 videos. Okay. Don't go over 4.
Okay. All right, let's go to the front.
Let's go here to the front. Okay. You gotta walk in front because I need someone.
Video me.
Okay. And mine records audio.
Hey, hello, Eliza. Let's see. I'll try to turn it up so you can hear. Hello, Eliza. I'm Nikki, and this is Will. Is this where your mansion was? But it was beautiful. Eliza, how old were you when you got married to Charles? Eliza, how many children did you and Charles have? I have 2 children. 1 boy and 1 girl. How many children? How many children? Do you understand what it's saying? Neither. Eliza, what was your favorite color? Eliza, is this the front door of your mansion? Is this the original stairs from your mansion?
I think I just heard a yes. Uh-oh.
Eliza, how old were you when you died? Eliza, what was your favorite flower to plant in your garden? Do you have any questions, Mom? You seeing something?
No, I'm not seeing much, no ma'am.
Eliza, can you show yourself for Will on his camera?
Right in front of that red car right there.
Eliza, can you tell me the name of one of your children? Did you have 2 children? Did you have 2? I have 2 children, 1 boy and 1 girl. I can't understand anything. Eliza, what was your father's name that lived in England? What was your father's name in England? Ray? Was it Ray? Eliza, what was your maiden name? Maiden? I don't know what it said. When?
Griffin?
Griffin? Was your maiden name Griffin? Was your dad's name Ray?
Something like that. He just said something like that.
Something like that.
Working through
July 14th.
July 14th.
What happened on July 14th? Is that a special date at all for you, July 14th?
Is that a birthday?
Could be a birthday for one of your children. So far I'm thinking you're telling me you have 2 children. Your maiden name was Griffin or something like that.
And your father's name was Ray. Is that correct?
Three.
Have you heard anything yet?
Well, we asked her father's name, and I've got Ray.
You got Ray.
No.
Griffin as her maiden name.
No.
Yeah.
2 children.
No.
July 14th.
Possible.
Okay.
Hang on.
The U.S.
It just said
Because I'm
Gracie.
trying to put the clues together based on everything I've heard from you guys so far. So let's see what happened on July 14th with the pink news.
Is there any chance that you can show yourself right in front of this car right now?
That's a yes or no question.
Oh yeah. I was just saying right now.
Follow up them steps.
I don't want to. That's it.
Alright.
Nothing.
Nothing that I can quickly Google, so I'll dive in based on the clues that I have from over there. She does have the full name of Andrew Jackson that came up on the board list. So we have Jackson first and Andrew showed up. It's not the right president that took her to her grave, but there could be another relation there.
Okay.
It's flickered in the recording started.
Okay. So let's ask her, Eliza, who was the president that was the pallbearer at your funeral?
Said brother. Said brother?
Way. Okay. So Eliza, I'd like to know about your garden. I have planted eggplants and banana peppers. What did you plant in your garden? What vegetable did you plant in your garden? About 500.
500 is probably.
It's not citrus. Don't have to move it. It's the one where you see her on the edges.
Not yet.
Please don't get
So again, when you're put the center of that, so what I'm looking for in the camera is not looking for this. I'm looking for rounded. We know that they can look like that. I'm looking for the thing that you can't. That's what I'm looking for. It could be that battery's getting weaker too.
Eliza, what color hair did you have?
Yeah.
Pink. Did you have pink hair, Eliza? Exactly. So let's ask, what else can we ask?
What plant did you make money off of?
What plant did you grow in your garden and cultivate and sell? What plant did your slaves help you? Are there any slaves still here?
That's a yes or no question.
if there are any slaves here, can you give me a name? A name of one of Eliza's slaves that helped her
Cultivate indigo.
the indigo? Eliza, can you tell me the name of any slaves that helped you
I heard
cultivate?
David.
David? I can't understand what it's saying. It's doing stuff, but it's. We asked what the name of one of her slaves was. Was there anybody still here?
How many slaves did you own on your property?
Yeah. Toyota.
1,200. I just heard 1,200.
Did you?
1,200 slaves.
That's a lot.
I mean, that's a lot, but they're also rich and they had a huge plantation, didn't they?
Yeah. Eliza, what year did your home burn down? I'm guessing it burned.
What year did it get destroyed?
What year was your home?
You're not supposed to talk about the action.
Children. You're not supposed to talk about her children.
Eliza, what year were you born?
How are they doing?
Could you repeat that number again?
Did you get back? Bring up.
Alright, let's walk around. We're not getting.
Okay, since we're not getting much over here, let's go. Mama, let's walk over here.
Okay.
Let's go try over here. See if we can find much of anything over here.
Eliza, what was your. Huh? Yeah.
Do what?
There's just no words coming through. It's just pieces of songs.
It's pieces of words. And then you gotta basically just put them together.
Jonas came back.
Jody.
Jonas? Jonas DeWalt? So that could be one of the slaves. Gordon? I heard Gordon.
This is flipping through all the stations.
Yeah, 161.
Eliza, how many slaves did you own on your plantation?
Was it? Yeah, our car's right there.
Come on, sit down.
I'll sit down. I'm not sitting down, buddy. I won't be able to get back up. Okay. So let's ask her. Eliza, what type of animals did you have on your plantation?
Eliza, did you have a favorite animal? Pig? I heard pig. You hear that song?
Yeah.
Oh.
So let's think of
Eliza, did you listen to any music that you can give us the name to? I heard yeah.
What's that?
Eliza. Here, can you?
Eliza, what happened to your home? What happened to your mansion?
Elijah.
Eliza.
How did you die?
Eliza, did you own any automobiles that you could have driven in?
Well, it was the 1700s.
Never mind.
She said, all right, walk with us, Bubba.
Is there anything out here? Out there? Eliza, did you have any carriages that were driven by horses?
Yes or no question. No?
Said no.
Eliza, I still want to know how many children you had.
How you doing?
I'm not getting anything.
It's not easy, is it?
No.
So between you and Andrea, you two have the hardest job out here. I mean, it is not easy to listen to this. I'm asking you to use part of your senses. So you're not trained to listen to this.
Yeah.
I listen to them every day. So with the recording, that's why I always give you so many. Like every 5 minutes, I just skip, and whatever I find, I write it down. If it's relevant, great, I give you an explanation. If it's not, you at least heard it. And like, oh, he picked up that song lyric. Oh, he picked up that part of the commercial. So again, if there's a tie to it, I'll always give you the backlink. Always. But I'm not gonna, like if I say it's vague or a stretch, I'll put in there, this is kind of stretchy, but this is the tie that I'm kind of finding with this.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we may not know right away what it's saying.
Well, yours doesn't record.
Yeah.
So yours, we would have to catch in real time.
Okay.
So I'm going to give everybody a couple more minutes with their devices. All right, I normally don't look at time, but we're doing okay. I'm honestly trying to see, like, once we're done here, can we find shelter if it starts storming? So it's kind of.
What's the weather looking like? What's the radar looking
It's going that way.
Is it going north? I figured we were going to be fine. Yeah, it doesn't say any rain for us in the next couple of hours, but the radar. Yeah, it's going out to the water. We'll be fine. So,
Okay.
all right.
Hey Eliza, if you can hear us, please move something.
We're done.
Please say copy that.
See, it's like I can't hear it. Like it's doing
If
something.
you changing to just like keep just random music.
What?
Keep changing just random music.
God. Going down. Credit to qualify. See anything? Let's look through your camera. Can I look through it with you? Alright, Eliza, we're looking for you.
Eliza, if you can hear us, can you stand in front of this camera?
Yeah, to the right.
I need someone to stand out there.
Well, you got.
Or I'll move
red,
forward,
baby.
Mother. There you go, special effect that.
Oh, I got you. 95. So, Eliza, I want to know how you died. Tell us how you died, Eliza, and maybe how old you were when you died. I want to know how old you were when you died. Eliza Pickney, can you tell me how old you were when you died? You going?
I'll get you guys some answers.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, turn those spirit boxes down. So,
Sorry about it. You good?
I am excited about the Andrew Jackson bit. Like, I am 90% sure that one of the kids was a politician under Andrew Jackson's lead. We had Andrew and Jackson show up on those spirit box word lists separately, with words in between. Can't make that stuff up. So that's probably the most exciting thing. We did get the word child in between that, so it might be Eliza telling me that one of her kids worked with Andrew Jackson. I don't know. I gotta dive into this a little bit further. Did we hear anything? Oh, you guys were asking all kinds of numbers. Have you heard anything since we last spoke? And have you heard anything?
We heard the number. We heard the numbers 95 and 161, but it was to like he was asking how many slaves they had.
And I heard 1,200,
Yeah, he heard 1,200.
but I don't
So,
think so.
Your spirit boxes are slowed down. So, in the wintertime, I'm just going to use this as an example. What color is the big red barn? Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer. I don't need Rudolph the nosed reindeer. I just need red. I just need 61. The mansion burned down in the Great Fire of 1861. So, I will take that as definitive. I know we didn't ask that question directly.
Oh,
but-
I did. I was asking what year the mansion burned down,
Oh, so did
but
you,
it wasn't in response. Well, I
did you
mean,
know
was it?
Did you know it burned down?
I guessed.
She guessed.
I guessed. I asked. I told her. I said, I'm guessing it burnt down. What year did it burn down?
And you heard 161.
Yeah. Not not right away, but like.
Again, it's not
Okay.
always going to be that, hey, I'm Eliza standing right here, let me answer you.
Okay.
She's going to wait for something to pop up so to answer all of those different
Oh,
questions. That's why I give you guys that array of questions to go
Okay.
through. 'Cause you never, like, we could still get answers as we're walking away.
Okay.
Because her maiden name is very specific. If we get that as we're 15 minutes down the road, she wanted to still tell us.
Okay.
It's not coincidence.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
61, I'm going to take it. That's pretty solid stuff. So, yes.
Can you tell us how she died now?
Oh, I'm going to give you all the answers. So, yeah, I'm not going to leave you guys hanging. Come on now. What kind of quiz show would this be? So, let's talk about her death since everybody seems to be interested. You guys were close on the year with 95.
Yeah.
It was actually 1793. Eliza was 70 years old. So, yes, she was elderly. She died in Philadelphia from breast cancer. Now, stop and think about that for a second. It's 1793. There's no such thing as breast cancer yet. We're going off of her medical records. So 9 out of 10 credible websites will tell you, yes, indeed, it was breast cancer based off of her medical records. She was going up there for treatment. We might want to be careful. Somebody's going to be backing in. Oh, leaving, actually. So, anybody want to take a guess at the president now that we know it's not Andrew Jackson? And you guys know the year she died? George Washington
Wow.
carried her to her grave. So the words I get around that, Martha, obvious reasons. Wood, cherry, apple. Why wood?
Because his teeth were made of wood.
Correct, he did have wooden dentures. So some people were trying to debunk that still, but most of the research says that he truly did have wooden dentures. So,
Really? People are trying to debunk that? Or?
Yep. Because it's kind of a weird legend to have. We don't want to think about our president having, oak teeth. That's crazy.
Well,
I think that about covers everything on her death and the reason why we don't visit actual cemeteries. Eliza is buried in Philadelphia, giving us answers down here. Cemeteries, I don't get much activity, I'll be honest with you. I investigate a lot of them. There's very few that I'm like, oh wow, this actually makes sense. Very few. You're walking through one giant cemetery based on everything that's going on here. We talked about the Great Fire, and by the way, every tour guide has some Great Fire that we talk about because we've had that many here in Charleston. This one went from Peninsula Coast to Peninsula Coast. The building was just in the way. The only photos we have of the place are after the fire. So it's always interesting to like hear what questions you guys ask about what happened to the house. You know, how many rooms did you have? I get all kinds of things that come out of that. The kids. Let's go into the ages because you guys were all curious about ages. She was 22 when she married Charles, who was 45. Yes, there was 23 years between them. So the marriage was only 14 years before Charles died, and she remained a widow for the rest of her days. So the kids, there was 4 of them. So you guys know Charles, but there was also Thomas and baby George, who did not make it. We don't know if the baby was days or weeks old. The death certificate simply states that the month and year are the same as far as the birth and death. There's no grave for this child either, nor is there a headstone. We have no idea what happened to this child. So again, when I tell you don't poke the bear, don't poke the bear. Then we have one more child, one daughter, Harriet. Harriet married in Horry. Myrtle Beach is in Horry County. So there was no drive up to Myrtle Beach to go hang out with her daughter for the day. These would have been letters being written back and forth. Anything with the words writing, pen, ink, letter, book, anything like that comes up. It's usually related to the daughter, and I usually get the daughter's name along with that, or just the word daughter. So again, it's all about putting those clues together. I had to kind of learn about that as I went along. All of this stuff I'm telling you wasn't in a tour guide handbook. This is stuff I've discovered by being out in the field every single night. Well, 6 nights a week. It feels like every night sometimes. What other questions did you guys ask that I might be able to answer for you? Did you guys go rogue with anything? Did you guys ask anything weird?
I asked about her slaves.
How many slaves she
She asked
had,
about her
Can't prove that.
favorite dress color.
and like her favorite colors and all that.
Any answers? No?
Oh, we asked for food.
Yeah,
she said
favorite
dessert.
food, and we did get the word dessert. So again, something else I can't prove, but it was a direct answer.
And then the sun.
Yeah, what's your favorite thing to do? They got the word sun. So probably being
Yeah, I asked
outside. I'm sure she loved being outside.
We, how many did you know how many slaves she had?
I have no idea
No,
because
no.
they had multiple locations.
Oh, did
so that
okay.
they had properties all over Charleston.
Okay.
So
So
1,200 could be accurate.
you guys heard 1,200?
Yeah.
We got 1,200 on it.
I can't prove it. It is what it is. So, all right. So from here, I'm pretty excited about some of the things that came up. Obviously, you guys seen. I'm not Zach Bagans. I'm not gonna woohoo. You go over there. It must be haunted. You know. But when I do find stuff, you'll hear like this is cool stuff. I have to tie it up and wrap it up to make sure we have something extra in the morning. I'm very excited. We did get up to 70 on the EMF over here. We've seen yours spike all the way to red, so we know it was at least 25 in your locations. Hopefully we capture something with the new full spectrum camera, and Will is he's doing a great job with the camera over here. We're gonna go to Lodge Alley from here. We're gonna walk up East Bay Street about 3 blocks until we get there. Lodge Alley is a quiet area. If you're gonna listen to your spirit boxes along the way, which you can, I want you to listen for names. I'm not gonna tell you the gender or what names, just listen for names. If you hear something, let me know once we stop in Lodge Alley. Lodge Alley is considered a quiet area, so once we enter the alley, you'll shut your spirit box volumes down. So there is a hotel right next to it. We have to kind of comply with the tourism laws, even though we're not really touring. We won't film in there but I mean, if you want to, by all means, go ahead and kill some battery in there if you want to. Keep filming on your end. Like, just keep going, whatever you're doing. EMF, we're gonna be on East Bay Street. Tons of parking meters, tons of crosswalks. They're gonna go nuts. Ignore it. So again, no false positives here, right? Lodge Alley is just a brief stop. So from there, we're going to go learn about some of the legends and lore from Charleston and see if we can capture any activity as I kind of go through some of those. I'll probably use Mackenzie's word list to help direct me which stories to tell. Again, there's like 15 stories on the same street corner. Then we're going to go investigate a female pirate to kind of see if we can get her to come through. Last night, we had some pretty prominent stuff with that location. Probably the best stuff I've had yet, maybe second best. But again, really strong stuff last night, so let's keep it going. Questions, comments, concerns so far?
Our car is right there. Does anybody want a water out of our cooler while we're right here? Anybody? Girls, y'all want a water?
Oh, we're good, thank
Are you sure y'all want something?
You know,
Okay. You want a water?
I got one. Cargo pants are my life.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Go
I
grab
got
one.
water.
It says
Give me one.
Again, part of the 80%. You're gonna probably see a daddy no. Satan might come up. Like, all of that stuff is meant to be part of like an ovulus you would see on TV. Thoughts, comments so far? Is this what you guys thought you were getting yourselves into? You didn't know you were gonna be working, did you?
I didn't
Well,
know
I
what was
thought
happening.
I mean, yeah, I've read about it.
Okay. She did her research.
I thought we were going to be on a bus.
Well, No ghost hunting on a bus.
On a bus.
I've been on one with the bus in Savannah.
Those are ghost, like, storytelling.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not storytelling here. We're looking for actual data. All right. We ready to roll?
Yeah.
All right, let's do this. We're going to head up this way.
Walking.
Get to the coordinates.
Okay, baby.
Alright, I'm gonna turn my spirit box.
Can you hold this real quick? Or put these in your shorts.
Wear your socks.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Oh, my stuff everywhere.
Yeah, I heard them.
Huh? Most of it.
So these turkey plates, like one of those suckers.
Water bag. Just giving us that.
shoes are today. So,
I got a couple of things on the way up here. I asked her to tell me her maiden name. I got Dave, double, Worth, Lovely, Pete, or something.
okay, well, let's go ahead and turn yours down. So this is the quiet area I was telling you about. I know the frogs are going to be louder than us, but it's Mother Nature. I did not tell you guys the maiden names, did I? So Eliza Lucas Pinkney is the one that actually planted all the indigo, and then Eliza Lamb Pinkney was the first one. So Lamb and Lucas were the names we were looking for there. Welcome to Lodge Alley. So a lot of things go on here. The reason why I asked you guys to listen for names, did we hear anything? I know you no names. Okay. So this particular place, when we did that last crosswalk, we are now inside the original Charlestown walls. So Charlestown used to be Charlestown. So this was one of our first streets. I'd love to show you guys off a little bit of cobblestone. These are clay bricks that we just walked on, and the term clay stone showed up in the same fashion of the Andrew Jackson last night when I was in here. So I found that very interesting that we didn't catch it in real time. I found it this morning. But anyway, these two buildings that you guys see that we just walked in between weren't here back in the 1800s. People used to live here. I have the full list of residents of every person that's ever lived here, along with their occupation. The names I commonly get here are Benjamin and John. To clarify John, sometimes I'll get John's last name, which was Johnson. So yes, his name was John Johnson. So with that said, this place also used to be where the Masonic Lodge was for Charlestown. So before people lived here, we do get the term Mason that shows up a lot too. So we're talking Freemasons. So I do get some light anomalies, so we never know what we're going to capture on the thermal imaging camera. That's why I said if we want to capture anything while we're here, we're only going to be here another minute or two before we move on. But that list of names, it's very interesting the things that I get out of that, especially considering it's a very short list. Only about 5 people lived here at a time. So it doesn't sound very interesting when I say, oh, I hear Benjamin and John. But those are 2 out of 5 people that lived here in 1801. So that's pretty good odds, especially when I get them probably about once a month on the same night. So when both of them are coming through, it's good stuff. So we'll kind of see what comes up on the spirit boxes as I go through it in the morning. Your EMF is probably just going off because of the buildings in between us. You can pretty much ignore it. We are going to cut through the rest of this alley. We are going to be in a neighborhood, so we're going to keep those spirit boxes audible to you only until we get to our next location. Where are we at on our word list? Let me kind of see what stories I need to tell. Nothing yet. So once we get to our next stop, I'll ask you again, because again, that next street corner we're going to, it's pretty busy with other tours. You're going to see large groups. They all stare at us because we have noise boxes and all kinds of craziness. So again, we're going to be telling some tales about some of the crazy things that happen here, and then we're going to go dive into that female pirate. That one is a doozy. So hopefully, fingers crossed, she wants to come through again on a new moon for you. All right. It's I think we should be okay. It doesn't look too wet. Are you gonna be okay as far as walking? Everybody got decent shoes on?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
I'm gonna need a new niche soon anyway. So you'll need to.
There we go. What was that?
All night.
All night? So you just got all night?
I want to know about the female pirate.
That's later, ain't it?
Or Eliza's. I've got them.
Young?
Radio.
A radio?
Everything. I don't know, that's it.
Said everything holy or something? Come on, let's hurry up. You gotta go up a little farther.
I slowed down a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Jeez. Listen. Yeah, turn it off. Is that like a school? Oh no, this is a church. It's an old church. Yes, ma'am.
They just said I'm ready to go. No.
I got some words.
Yeah. What you got?
North, all night, radio, everything.
A lot of vague terms coming out of you. At least you're getting the gist of how to listen to it.
And I heard holy.
You heard
I heard the word holy.
Well, we're next to a church, so.
Like right after it said everything, I heard holy.
Okay.
Good job, brother.
Good deal. Alright. Yeah, I'm going to kind of give you a gist of what goes on in this corner. I don't have any inspiration, so I'm just going to kind of wing it from. There's nothing there that's relating to the story I need to tell, so I just kind of go into the gist of the really cool ones. How's that?
Cool.
So, did you guys notice the gorgeous alley that we passed up?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the prettiest place we have in Charleston. It's called
That's what I was
Philadelphia
behind because I stopped and looked at it.
I didn't see it.
Wait,
called
the one that we
Philadelphia Alley. So it's easy to remember for me because that's exactly where Eliza Pinckney was buried. So it's called Philadelphia Alley because after dueling became illegal and stupid, they renamed it after a city that helped us with one of our many fires that we had. So that used to be called Duelers Alley. That's where the duels used to occur for the city of Charleston. If you guys notice from the wall behind you, it's one of the reasons why I bring you up here. In the wall over there, Philadelphia Alley, there's a gate. Like there's a little doorway over there.
Yeah.
In the event of a loser, they would actually pick up the dead guy, bring him over this courtyard, and then over to the cemetery, drop the body in a pre-dug grave, and then go celebrate the winner. That's why that gate is still there. So we don't have duels anymore, obviously, but again, that's the whole purpose of it. So it just has a creepy history. I like to show off a little bit. So we all tell the story of one duel because we can actually prove it. It actually happened. So with that being said, you could probably kill the video for me, guys. We're not wasting battery because we're going to have to change it as soon as we get over across the street. So the one duel that occurred here, I'm going to give you a lot of keywords. So the spirit boxes, this is the kind of things I'm looking for in the morning when I'm going through your data. Give a new word. Bear. There's no bears in Charleston. At least not downtown. So there was a doctor that moved down here from Rhode Island. His name was Joseph Brown Ladd.
Brown bear?
What's that?
Brown bear?
No. Like, no. So he moves down here because he's supposed to get married. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense, does it? His fiance Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. The attorney that was helping her handle that money basically said, send the doctor again. So we're going to let this group pass through. Actually, both groups. That's why we have you guys take a seat.
I told Pat and all.
Passed it before. Ever since you sat down. See the power button? Top right button on the face. On the face. Top left button. Hold it down until it shuts off and turn it back on again and test it. So, where were we? Doctor moves here. Oh,
The
getting
lawyer.
married.
Pretty
Amanda.
cool.
Alright, so he comes into town. He's dressed pretty good, right? Because he just got out of med school. He's going to start his practice down here to prove he's not just after Amanda's money. So the coachman that brings him into town set him up to be robbed and killed. I know, Dad, a lot of history, but you guys probably been walking around all day, I'm sure. I see yawns.
Oh no, yeah.
Lots of history over in this corner. So the coachman sets him up to be robbed and killed. Not a very good start to his stay here in Charleston. Somebody walking by named Ralph Isaac sees what's going on. And keep in mind, Ralph has the same initials as where the doctor came from.
Rhode Island.
Ralph Isaac's Rhode Island. So again, our eye shows up based on what we're using tonight. He says, let me take you to 59 Church Street. I have some friends over there. You can rent a room from them. They become friends, him and Ralph. So the doctor's practice starts to take off, and he's making lots of money. Amanda's going to be moving down soon. He's proving his point. He becomes known as the whistling doctor. He whistled all the time. He's a happy guy. So him and Ralph are friends. They go see plays together. But because the doctor makes so much more money, he actually doesn't get to sit next to his friend. He's on a higher hierarchy than Ralph. So he gets better seats at the theater. They talk about the plays on the way home. They start arguing about the new actress that's in town. The doctor loves her, Ralph does not. Obviously gets heated, turns into an insult party on the doctor's fiance back home in Rhode Island. They get pretty mad at each other even still. They go their separate ways. Ralph is from here. He calls his friends at the newspaper, not literally, it's the 1700s. I do the phone thing a lot in case you couldn't tell. But he goes over to them and he wants to place an ad to tell the city of Charleston what a disgrace the doctor is to the whole city. He's not from here, he charges too much, he's just a disgrace. So the doctor sees it, he rebuttals with, let's go to Dueler's Alley, we're going to settle this. Somebody's going to die. So they come down, they take their 20 paces, they turn, the doctor points his gun in the air, and he shoots. He did not want to kill his friend. Just wanted to prove a point that their argument was stupid, he was willing to forgive his friend. Ralph still has his one bullet. He puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. So he didn't die and come through the death gate that I just told you about. They pick him up and carry him home to 59 Church Street, where he dies 10 days later, probably from bleeding out. So he's a doctor, he can't heal himself. It's the late 1700s. Sorry, my nose is itching. Somebody's talking about me. So the key to this whole story is that all of those keyframe terms come up all the time. But as you're walking through the alley, I used to take people through there until I got caught. It is residential at the end, so I'm not allowed to go down there. But I would tell people this is where you want to listen to your audio for the whistles. So if you're going to walk down there, turn your phone recorder on. See if you get anything in the background. We do have a lot of hecklers that know the story, and they will give up, through the alley, so you kind of know in the background. It's going to be faint. I have a couple that I can't debunk, but I do have a lot of hecklers, and I'm like, yeah, that's somebody walking by. So, and I always give a fake whistle when I told the story in the alley, so people knew what they were listening for. Here's your fake one. Now we're going to walk and see what happens. So, it is the prettiest place. If you're a picture taker, day or night, that's the prettiest place to be. The story they're telling up there that they're dragging out for way too long. So that is St. Philip's Cemetery. The reason why they're up there is because there's a sign right inside the gate that says there's no ghost at St. Philip's besides the Holy Ghost. And there's a reason for that. 1888, a young lady died 6 days after her stillborn child. Her name was Sue Howard Hardy. Now, 1987, local photographer's in town. He's writing a book. He's putting together something about all of our cemeteries here. He takes a picture of a full apparition of a woman in a shawl with a baby basket next to her over that grave. It's 1987. We didn't have cell phones and Photoshop and all the mess we have now. He has to send it to Kodak. Younger group, they had to send their pictures in to get them developed. So Kodak is that company. So they can't debunk the picture either. Now for guys like me, this is what I do for a living. This stuff is like gold. Like it's paranormal proof. But the picture's cursed. We have a whole team of females here. Females that hold or handle the picture, even on your cell phone, you're going to have the same symptoms like what I told you about back on Big John's. So I'm very superstitious, as I'm sure you can imagine. So if in the event we actually have something come up on the spirit boxes that's related to that, I always give a heated warning before you open the link. Don't open it on your phone. That's still handling it. Look at it on a computer. Have a mail show it to you if you really want to see the picture. I won't give the link unless we have something relative. So pregnant females holding that picture probably will not have a good pregnancy based on the gist of the story. The baby died stillborn. So again, that's the story that they're telling up there at St. Philip's. That's the reason for the sign. That's the reason for the light that you guys see over the cemetery. That's to deter ghost hunters from taking pictures. It is directed right at the sign so that your cameras go a little wonky. My cameras go right through it. So again, I like to go up there from time to time, take a few snapshots, see what happens. When there's not a giant group up there dragging out a story that doesn't need to be dragged out, I do take you up there and throw some cameras inside the wrought iron gates to see what happens. I do get things wrapped around the story. So I've had Sue's initials come up. Like literally, it's for us, it looks like shh, but it's SHH. Her name is Sue Howard Hardy. I've called, when I first started this tour, I got the story wrong and I was calling her Susan. And every time I called her Susan, the name Sue would pop up, like her correcting me. So it was kind of a, okay, have I caught anything in pictures? I haven't. Have I had anything on camera? I haven't. But it doesn't mean it won't happen. So I'll always continue to try, because you never know. It just might be the times that I'm up there, I'm just missing out. Could be I need to be up here at 2 o'clock in the morning. Who knows? This, by the way, is a little, besides it being a little humid, this is like the perfect temperature for me.
Yeah,
I'm not sweating
this is
to death.
nice.
Last night I was drenched. It was like 85 degrees out here still. One last thing before we go across the street, because you guys are getting sneaky on me. Did you guys see the gas burning lamp in the distance there? Yep.
Yeah.
That's the pirate house. So when you're... Did you really? You never know.
Butt cheek.
It said shorts, right cheek. So,
Oh, Ashton's right butt cheek is probably her shorts. Just saying.
so the gas lamp, which is definitely relevant, that is the pirate house. It has a big anchor on the front. You can't miss it when you guys are walking around, but don't go in his backyard. He gets pissed. Don't ask me how I know. But with that said, that's where Blackbeard's men would come off their ships, meet with a few girls, have a place to sleep and a place to drink. But they also dug a tunnel from the pirate house 1 block going south towards Dock Street Theater, one of the top 10 most haunted locations in America. So they used to go there because at the time it was a whorehouse, it was a playhouse, and a hotel. It was called Planters. They would go there for the playhouse, believe it or not, because they would actually go there to work for a few days in between bartering with the locals. Pirates tie really good knots. They would be working backstage to help the theater out. So again, it's just one of those weird, unknown facts. Now the tunnel, it is real. They just filled it in the 1990s. I want to say it was like 96. So again, it is a true story. I got you. Excuse me, guys. You good? You good? So now that I got your minds kind of on piratey stuff, let's go talk about this kick-ass female pirate across the street. We gotta go talk about the powder magazine. Look, this thing breaks over. Get back to work.
Better, Dad.
Good. Perfect timing. I want to put the bag down anyway. Did it say dead?
Yeah.
Do you have a battery or charge or anything related to a battery on there? We're going to change that out after I tell you what's
We
going
have
on.
stress.
I'm just trying to get the bag off my shoulders for a few minutes. This is where I get
Maybe
to
it
take
was
a
telling
break.
us it was gonna die.
So last night we had a cat in here following my girt, and the cat landed on that parking space. I'm trying to see if that's a 24.
Yeah.
And then it
Yeah.
also landed on number 21, wherever that is. I think that's over here.
Right here.
21 was definitely relevant. It was almost like the cat moved there and sat and laid down on purpose because we were talking about a specific character from the story, and that was the year that she died, 1721. So it's kind of like, oh shit, like that's cool stuff. We'll take it. And I caught it the next morning because somebody was taking pictures. So anyway, let's talk about this building first. And there, you can see the giant groups over there. We're gonna get up close to them once we're done over here. So I told you guys about the original Charlestown Wall. Do you remember that from Lodge Alley?
Mm-hmm.
That wall ran up Cumberland Street. That's Cumberland Street. So it literally went up the road, right past this building over here with the crosses on it, about 1/2 a block.